Hello, 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 beautiful people. Hope we're getting enough light on this video. How is everybody doing? It's another day in the month of March 2020, and I wanted to talk about something interesting today that I am looking at this week actually with my clients that I'm working with, and I've noticed this week I decided that with my body work, I'm going to really focus on how people are approaching flexibility as with their physical flexibility. And what I have realized is that there is something that people are just stretching averse. So often I make the joke about, okay, it's okay, you can always leave your legs with me for the week or for the couple of days, and I could stretch them for you or whatever. And in preparation for this whole focus on flexibility, physical flexibility, that is, in particular, I was doing a little bit of research. So I thought, really interesting, maybe I might share some of that with you guys. And first of all, I just have some notes here, so I wanted to just touch on that while I'm talking. So if you see me glancing down, that's why. But basically speaking, one, we have like the three pillars of our health and our exercise, and it's cardiovascular conditioning. Then a lot of us do strength training, and then flexibility. Yeah, but so often flexibility, strength training and cardiovascular fitness sort of gets all the focus and all the attention. And maybe it's because one can measure, it's easy to measure how much fitter you're getting, how much stronger you're getting. And then also additionally, I think people, which is what they've told me, often look at flexibility as something that you do maybe after or as an add-on to sort of get you ready to exercise, or when you warm down or cool down, you do a little bit of stretching. And very few clients that I've worked with come on board with the reality that stretching actually is a very important part of their fitness and well-being training. So I really wanted to touch on that, on a few things. I mean, obviously, in some videos I've put on before, I'm sure you're aware that I have talked about breathing. And in the process of stretching, one can also add on, or is necessary really, to look at how we're breathing while we are doing our stretching. So it's really, really an important aspect of the actual stretching when you are stretching. So you look at how you are releasing the muscles when you're breathing, how you are focusing. Yeah. So basically speaking, you want to look at the three different types of stretching. Okay. So you have, for instance, what I promote a lot in dynamic stretching, which is really looking at moving as fluidly and as lengthening as possible, so that whatever movement we are making, it actually means that we are stretching into a joint and lengthening through that joint, which then makes you more limber eventually. Obviously, there's also passive stretching, which can just be done where you are just relaxing into that stretch and just holding that stretch. And it's not, you can be it's not just passive but static, and you're just there, which is great as well. Yeah. Then you can also add on to that what we call PNF stretching, which you take into muscle to a certain length and you're pushing it a little further, you're holding, and then you're releasing a little bit. So you're sort of waking up the proprioceptors of the muscles and finding about where are their comfort zones and where are where are the thresholds. But for this short post that I want to make, I want to say how important it is to do what I call the dynamic stretching. So just when I talk about our mindset in the mornings, just waking up and just getting in your mind about moving your body symmetrically, and then, putting both feet off the side of the bed, sitting quite square onto the bed, onto the edge of your bed, or if you're going to meditate, sitting quite square, and assessing your body. Is one side feeling tighter than the other? And then moving into a movement that sort of lengthens you. You know, I like to think of people lengthening and just stretching into the back of the neck, or just sitting down and stretching the arms to one side. As you stretch your right arm, you just take your left ear and reach to your left shoulder, and just feeling a gentle stretch down the side of your neck, you know. And again, obviously you do it to both sides, and just actually becoming aware of the discrepancies in the relaxation and the tension that you could feel from one side to the other. Another thing you can think about is also when you want to stretch the back of your neck. Obviously, just don't yank yourself, but just feeling that gentle stretching down the back of your body, and even rolling forward, bringing your forehead towards your thighs or your knees. A lot of people cannot even access that stretch, that length into the upper mid-back. And so just checking for yourself, just sort of assessing yourself. Where are the areas that I'm holding myself quite tight, you know, and then learning to release this. Also, another aspect of something you could think about is, wow, when I stretch over to one side, I'm really feeling one side of my body so tight compared to when I stretch the other side. And oh my gosh, well, maybe I should try to balance that off. Because have we ever noticed when we get an injury, a sore knee, a sore hip, a sore ankle, sore shoulder, it's never both at the same time? Have you noticed that? So what is this going on here? Well, what's going on is that all of us really are more dominant, one-sided dominant. So if, say, for instance, you're a right-hander or a left-hander, you'll be right-hander, right-side dominant, and then therefore you're more tied to one side of your body. So just being aware of that, and being aware of any discrepancies in your body, in your flexibility, and learning to just take a few minutes, even if it's 10 minutes a day, to just work into those movements. It could be while you're closing your eyes and doing a little bit of the beginning of your meditation, your affirmations, your prayer, you know, and taking that time to allow your breath to come in and stretch through the muscles, stretch through the body. Just lengthening out yourself a little bit would make a world of difference, you know. I had a client yesterday, and another one this morning. Actually, I was again looking at the whole flexibility issues with them, and they are both women over 50. And as this is the Fit Strong and Flexible over 50 group, they're both women over 50. And I just thought, you know, I would chat with them about this, because a lot of us are quite busy. I mean, it's just not over 50, but women generally speaking, because we are multitasking a lot, we tend to be, you know, shortening the time we spend on ourselves. So I was speaking to them a little bit about just their daily routine, and that maybe, for instance, and I've said this before, you know, just while they're in the bathroom, just putting their foot on the edge of their bathtub or the seat of the toilet, you know, close the lid, and just actually reaching forward and getting the stretch into the back of the leg. I'm sure if some of you here that may see this video can do that little test, put your foot on the chair, on the seat of a chair, and just try to bend over where you're touching your toe, or trying to get your forehead to your knee or your thigh, or even touching your shin with both of your hands, and you will find that maybe that's not so easy. Or maybe when you try it with the second leg, this other leg, you will see, wow, one side is so much different than the other. So I'm just, you know, putting this out there to say, guys, why don't you try checking your flexibility? Hi, Giselle. You know, checking your flexibility from one side to the other, because that's where we get a lot of injuries cropping up, because we are one side dominant. So I just, you know, making a few pointers on our flexibility, the third pillar of our fitness regime, as in strength training, cardio conditioning, and our flexibility. Another aspect that I wanted to just touch on with flexibility really is the idea of the relaxation. When we focus, we become mindful of what we're doing with our bodies and how we are opening through our joints and opening through our muscles, not forcing ourselves, but becoming more mobile, not just flexible, but mobile. And again, that speaks a little bit to our dynamic stretching that I mentioned at the beginning, that I said I will speak to at the end. Thinking about your movement being fluid, and in things that you do, that you're reaching for, how are you reaching? When you reach for something, are you reaching with your neck and shoulders, or are you really mobilizing the shoulder joint? I was actually just speaking today with my client who had an accident and broke her arm right up at the top of her humerus, and so it's obviously infringing on the movement, the mobility of her glenohumeral joint, which is the clavicle, scapula, and humerus. And because of the movement of the scapula on the rib cage, and that joint being such a very floating joint, really everything is floating around there and just moving with those muscles, it's very prone to injury and very prone to the muscles tightening to hold us into positions that we are normally putting ourselves. So it really makes sense, guys, to become quite aware of our movements being very loving to ourselves, very fluid, so that when we are moving and doing something, even if we're reaching for something on the desk, how are we supporting ourselves and moving that joint as opposed to moving all the neck and shoulders and getting quite tense, you know? Being aware of how we are moving is about being aware of how we are treating ourselves, okay? So I just wanted us to be a little bit aware of the flexibility aspect of the fitness. It's just a short post to say, let's look at about the flexibility. I will tag a couple of the exercises that I have done that really speak to the flexibility on this group already, and write a little bit more and do a little post about that, because I'm really looking a lot about this week, working with my clients, and hoping that some of you out there who have mentioned to me that they are feeling less flexible, which is normal as we age, but also just having injuries, nursing injuries and stuff like that. So it pays to just be aware of our flexibility and of our approach to how we move our bodies, okay? And giving an equal attention to our cardiovascular fitness, to our strength training, and our flexibility conditioning as well. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. Remember, guys, being in our group Fit, Strong and Flexible, over 50, it's not just about when you're over 50, you can start before. And it's not just people over 50, it could be people over 60, 70, 80, 90, even over 100. I think my oldest client to date was 98. And it can help everybody to just be fit, strong and flexible in body, mind, spirit, soul, and psychology. Okay, so have a great rest of the day, and look out for some little additions to this short post. Giselle, thanks for joining me, and thanks to everybody else who may listen or watch after. You don't have to watch everything. You can listen in the background, obviously. So yes, thank you for the opportunity to share with you, ladies. And don't forget to share the group and invite others who you feel may benefit from anything that's happening on this group. So have a great day, Chi, and yeah, stay fit, strong and flexible, you ladies, and thanks for joining.